Hi YouTube, it's Kathy, and this is my TBR for VaLITines. This is a month-long celebration of the bookish community on Instagram, on Twitter, on YouTube, obviously, and it's all started by Cait from Chapter Cait. This is taking place all throughout February, and there is this lovely bingo board of different prompts you can read from, and there's a couple of self-care type prompts on there as well. Of the 25 bingo prompts, there are 20 that pertain to reading books. I have picked 10 books so far that cover most of the prompts, but not all of them yet. I also tried to be strategic and used a lot of the audiobooks that I'm going to have access to in February, so a lot of audiobooks that I've put on hold or currently have, but will still have by the time February rolls around, so that I can cross off as many prompts as possible with books that I was already going to read anyway. The first reading prompt is Love Shack, which is a book with a building or buildings on the cover. For this I'm reading The Extraordinaries by Klunr. This is an audiobook that's coming into me. I haven't read anything by this author yet, even though this and The House on the Cerulean Sea are on my TBR, and I have access to them, I just haven't gotten around to them yet. For Black Future Month, we're looking for something that is Afrofuturism, and of course I went to the Queen, N.K. Jemisin, and will finally be able to read The City We Became. This has been on my holds list for a very, very long time, and it came in at a very good point. Next we have Goo Goo Eyes, which is either a pretty cover or has eyes on the cover. For this one I've gone with Plain Bad Heroines. As you might have noticed, I haven't been giving synopses for these books, and that's because I like to go into my books knowing as little as possible. Mostly what I remember about this one is Josie the Reading Witch recommended it to me, and I was very excited about it at the time, and then I immediately went, I don't need to know what the synopsis is, I just want to read the book. That's how I go into reading a lot. Next we have Words of Affirmation, and this is a book that is blurbed by one of your favorite authors on the cover. A couple of these books actually work for that. Plain Bad Heroines has a blurb by Sarah Waters on the cover. I have read and liked Sarah Waters' books. And then The City We Became has a Neil Gaiman blurb on the cover, and I've read and liked his books as well, so I'm covered there. The next prompt is Love Language and wishes to read a translated book, and I don't have anything for that yet, but who knows what else I will be reading next month. Next we have the easiest prompt for me, which is Skip a Beat, which is don't read the synopsis, just go into it not knowing anything, which is so me. What I put down officially for this one is The Changeling by Victor LaValle. Just based on the title, I assume there's going to be something to do with a changeling, which is traditionally, at least in Irish folklore, when they thought that a baby had been taken and replaced by a fae baby. Next we have Quality Time, which is a book that you think might take a while. For this one I'll be reading Disability Visibility, which I believe is a collection of essays from people who are disabled about their disabilities and their lived experiences. Next we have Gifts, which is something that was given to you as a gift. For this one I decided I'm finally going to read Faith Taking Flight. This is a novel tie-in written by Julie Murphy to do with the comic books and the superhero Faith, who is a character I absolutely love. She's a superhero who is nerdy, she's fat, she can fly, she's so cool, and I'm very excited to read this book. Next we have a couple more that I haven't covered yet. One is Opposites Attract, which is read a different genre or format. There aren't a lot of genres or formats I don't read all the time, so I don't know that I'm going to find anything that's really going to fit for this one. The next one is My Sunshine, which is to read something lighthearted. I'm sure that something on this list might fit in there, but so far there's been a lot of like hard-hitting things, so maybe Faith will fit in there? I don't know yet. For Long Distance, you're meant to read something from a different culture or country. For this one, it's a little bit of cheating. I'm reading White Rabbit, which is from the UK, so it's a different country. It's not really the best thing that I could have picked in the spirit of this prompt, but this is a book on my physical TBR that I really want to read. It's also a book that I'm reading for the Buzzwordathon. If I end up reading something that fits this prompt even better, then even the better for it, but that's what I have written down so far. Next we have Head Over Heels, which is to read a book where the author has a longer first name than they do last name. I wrote something down for this and I looked at it and I was like, that's clearly wrong because that's not how that author's name works, so I'm still working on this one. I looked at all the authors I have so far and none of them quite fit that yet. I had just teared down everything, I was just about to start editing, and then I realized that How to Catch a Queen by Alyssa Cole is coming in as a hold this month, so this one totally fits for Head Over Heels. There we go. Next we have touch, which is something either where the cover has an interesting texture or it's going to be a touching subject. I went for the former, and I'll be reading Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race. To White People is embossed into the cover, so it does have that interesting texture to it. This was also something, again, on my physical TBR that I wanted to read anyway, so I love being able to just put things onto this TBR that I was going to read anyhow. For long term, you're looking for something that's been on your TBR for a very long time. For this one, I am finally going to read Of Fire and Stars by Audrey Coulthurst. This has been on my TBR for, I feel like, absolute years, and I've just never gotten around to it. Next is Sharing is Caring, where you're meant to read a book based on a prompt from a different readathon that is happening in February. There are so many of them, I just want to say. I want to do all of them, but also I'm starting to burn out, and I don't like that feeling. So I'm low-key participating, for example, in Blackathon, but I'm not making an official TBR for it because it's basically going to be the same books that are on this list. Obviously not all the books on this list would be appropriate for the prompts for Blackathon, but there are a lot that do cover some of the Blackathon prompts. If you haven't heard about Blackathon, I will make sure to link Jesse's announcement down below. Similar to this readathon, that is a whole month-long event. There are watch-alongs of movies, there are going to be Twitter sprints, there's going to be Instagram challenges, there's going to be book talk things, I think, as well. So that is another huge community thing that I highly suggest people check out and participate in. In this TBR, I've also covered the monthly prompt for the Buzzwordathon. I've also covered some prompts for Demomathon, which will be happening in the second half of the month, and the prompts for that aren't out yet, so I can't tell you what they are, but I did email the person in charge and kind of ask just to make sure that I was at least covering a couple of different readathon prompts. For Love Song, you're meant to read a book that reminds you of a favorite song. I don't have anything for this yet. We'll see how it goes by the end of the month. For Acts of Service, it's something that involves a quest, and I think that Faith Taking Flight will probably have one of those, being a superhero book. For Dream Come True, you're meant to read something that reminds you of a dream. For this one, I've chosen White Rabbit because it makes me think of Alice in Wonderland, which is definitely a book that reminds me of dreaming. For Commitment Issues, you're meant to either start or continue a series. Faith Taking Flight is apparently the first in a novel tie-in series, so I'm excited about that. I thought we were only just getting the one of them. Also, I believe Of Fire and Stars is the first in a duology, maybe? Either way, I'm pretty sure I have this one covered. And then finally, we have First Date, which is a new to you author. There are a few different books already on this list that cover this because I haven't read anything by those authors before, but the one I officially put down for this is Roman and Jewel by Dana L. Davis. Beginning of the synopsis of this is if Romeo and Juliet got the Hamilton treatment, and that's all I need to know. Really. I'm a huge theater dork, and I'm a fan of people of color taking writings of old dead white men and making them their own, so here we are. To go over the 5 prompts that have nothing to do with reading a specific book, we have Love Note, which is tell a bookish creator how you feel about them. I love it. We have Spread the Love, which is promote a bookish creator. Use the hashtag #VaLITines on social media. Have a bubble bath or do some form of self-care. I do this every Wednesday, so I've got this covered. And date night with a book, which is dedicate one night to reading, and of course that will happen this month. I'm very excited about this readathon. I've participated every year. This year I'll also be doing Twitter sprints every Sunday. I'm also doing one of the Instagram challenges, and I'm hosting one of the video challenges. So, you know, spread the bookish love far and wide. What book on this list are you most excited for me to read? Let me know about it down in the comments below. On the way down to the comments, if you don't mind hitting that like button, that would really help me out. If you don't feel like leaving a comment but want to make sure that I know you were here, just leave me an emoji or a smiley face if you're on your keyboard. Some people have asked if there's a way to financially support this channel, so I set up a Ko-fi account, which is a digital tipping service. The link for that is down below, as well as the link to my PayPal and my Amazon wishlist in case you would like to buy me a book. You can like and share this as you see fit, and I will see you very soon. Bye!